Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. So the question I think we've all been asking ourselves for a while here, what is it going to take? What is it going to take to tank Joe Biden as a presidential candidate? You know, they've tried everything to destroy Donald Trump, and in most cases it's simply made him more popular. But on the Biden end, it's not a bunch of bogus stories. We're talking about actual controversy, real scandal, real evidence of corruption, and it continues to mount. And so the question I ask once again is, how much is it going to take? Because guess what? Well, you already guessed it. We have more information, more evidence, suggesting deep corruption and abuse of power involving the Bidens and the Biden administration. Let's have a conversation about the Democrats' favorite topic, democracy. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so once again, it's the Biden bombshell that nobody seems to be talking about because the mainstream media is totally corrupt with their heads so far up the Democrat behind. Let me fill you guys in on what's going on. We have a piece here from the New York Post. Spy letter about Hunter Biden shows how Dems are undermining democracy. In the closing address at last month's Summit for Democracy, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken piously proclaimed, as President Biden has said, democracy doesn't happen by accident. It requires constant effort. Or in the case of the 2020 election, it required deceiving American voters. The House Judiciary Committee revealed that Blinken, then a top Biden advisor, orchestrated the letter from 51 top intelligence officials claiming that Hunter Biden's laptop was nothing but a Russian disinformation campaign. And of course, we know that that letter was used as a defense to protect Joe Biden from the Hunter Biden laptop scandal. The letter was sent to every single mainstream media outlet, and they all repeated the same thing like a bunch of fake news parrots.
It's a story that many intelligence experts say has all the hallmarks of a foreign interference campaign.
It looks like it's tied to Vladimir Putin in Moscow.
This is a Russian intelligence disinformation campaign.
Foreign intelligence operation.
Foreign intelligence operation.
Russian intelligence.
Rudy Giuliani was not fed passively Russian disinformation. He ordered it off the menu.
Blinken contacted former acting CIA chief Mike Morell, who swayed scores of other former top officials, including 3 ex-CIA chiefs, to sign that letter to debunk the biggest threat to Biden's presidential campaign. In the final presidential debate on October 22nd, Joe Biden invoked that letter from former intelligence officials to deflect Donald Trump's attacks on Biden family corruption. Polls show that Biden would have lost the election if the media had accurately reported the contents of that laptop. Biden pretended that the letter arose spontaneously from patriotic sentiments of former officials, but the letter was triggered by Blinken's call to Morell, who then contacted his former colleagues. Now, of course, this is one of the biggest corruption scandals in modern political history, but nobody seems to care. Let's put it into perspective. Current Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, in an effort to protect Joe Biden from a legitimate story involving the Biden family and his son Hunter, used his connections at the CIA to coerce 51 former top intelligence officials to sign onto a letter discrediting the Hunter Biden laptop story. It's an absolutely disgusting abuse of power, and this comes from the same people who are saying things like it requires constant effort to maintain democracy, as they undermine democracy. And this comes after last week's story. Hunter Biden's IRS whistleblower news draws intense Twitter backlash. Quote, cover-up of Biden family corruption. Fox News confirmed that attorney Mark D. Little penned a letter calling for whistleblower privileges regarding his client, an IRS criminal supervisory agent. The letter read that the agent previously made legally protected disclosures at the IRS and stated that these disclosures contradict sworn testimony to Congress by a senior political appointee. Radio host Mark Simone remarked, major breaking news, a whistleblower exposes a deep cover-up in the Hunter Biden investigation and involvement of Merrick Garland in it. And of course, corrupt Lester Holt doesn't even mention it on the evening news. So now we're seeing Merrick Garland possibly implicated, and of course the same Democrats who are always virtue signaling and lecturing about democracy and abuse of power are once again absolutely silent, these complete hypocrites. Here's Democrat Senator Chris Coons on the issue, being questioned on CBS News.
Are you confident in the conduct of Attorney General Merrick Garland when it comes to this case?
I am. Look, President Biden, from the days he was campaigning to his first days as president, made it clear that he thought restoring the independence of the Department of Justice, removing any political influence for potential investigations was a core value that he brought to this service as president, and I'm confident that's in no small part why he chose a seasoned circuit court judge, someone with also deep experience at DOJ, I am confident that Merrick Garland has conducted himself appropriately here.
He's confident that Merrick Garland conducted himself appropriately. Confident based on what exactly? Because all the evidence that I've seen thus far suggests the exact opposite. I mean, it doesn't get any more hypocritical and dishonest than this garbage. There was Democrat-led deep state abuse of power in the middle of a general election to protect the preferred establishment candidates. Current top senior White House officials were deeply implicated and frankly were probably the architects of this clear abuse of power. It was an effort to hide the truth, to lie to the American public, and to subvert the natural course of a real authentic democracy. And the same mud democracy Democrat clowns are all silent on the issue. What is it going to take to tank Biden, to tank the Democrats? The pessimist at the back of my mind is telling me that Joe Biden's going to be able to survive all of it because the media is protecting him and most people aren't even aware. Just like during the last election cycle, millions of voters weren't even aware of the Hunter Biden scandal, and millions more thought it was a Russian misinformation campaign to take Joe Biden down. But the optimist in me tells me that maybe it's not going to be one big thing that takes down the Bidens, but rather death by 1,000 paper cuts. I mean, it continues to pile up. It's more and more and more scandal, more proof of corruption, not phony salacious dossiers alleging some sort of PP tape in Russia, but real actual document proof and evidence, and in this case, an IRS whistleblower and a top CIA official testifying in front of Congress, pointing the finger at Anthony Blinken. It all continues to pile up, and it seems as though we might be seeing a situation that's going to be very hard to recover from in respect to Biden's chances of re-election. New poll shows a whopping 70% think that Biden shouldn't run again, days before he's set to announce his re-election bid. According to a new poll out Sunday from NBC News, 70% of Americans do not want Biden to run for a second term, compared to only 26% who do. Among those who don't want the 80-year-old president to pursue a second term, 69% cite age as a reason why, with 48% calling it a major reason. He's already old and clearly unfit for the job. Now imagine if just a small percentage of those voters actually started to realize just how much of a lying scoundrel and corrupt politician he really is. And don't even get me started on the ghouls that surround him. Everything, all the major points of rhetoric coming from the Democrat establishment and the media that props them up has been total projection. Every accusation that they have lobbed at Donald Trump is exactly what they are guilty of. And let me tell you, this massive bombshell revelation, again, I'm classifying it as one of the biggest scandals, abuse of power, corruption scandals in modern history, is just the tip of the iceberg. There is more information surrounding Joe Biden that has released or is being released this week. We haven't even covered it all. Eventually, there's going to be too much to protect their boy Biden from. He's a walking political liability, and there's just no way in my mind that his political career can survive all of it. You know what I wonder sometimes? Imagine what the world would look like if the mainstream media actually did their frickin' job.
Are you ready for some tough questions?
You don't ask Biden tough questions. I wish you would interview Joe Biden like you interview me. It would be so good. I watch him walk out of a store, and he's walking with ice cream. And the question the media asks him, what kind of ice cream? What flavor ice cream do you have? And he's in the midst of a scandal. It's the biggest, second biggest scandal. The biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign right from the beginning. Now, your first question was, this is going to be tough questions. You don't ask Joe Biden. I saw your interview with Joe, the interview with Joe Biden.
I never did a Joe Biden
interview. It was a
interview.
joke. The interview, 60 Minutes. I see Joe Biden giving softball after softball. I've seen all of his interviews. He's never been asked a question that's hard. Your first statement was, are you ready for tough questions?
Are you?
That's nowhere to talk. I think we have enough of an interview here, Hope. Thanks.
That's what I got for you guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you guys are up for it. Of course, you know that we would love to have you here in the Liberal Hive Mind community, especially heading into the next election cycle. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you on the next one.